and welcome to the best new science fiction, fantasy, and horror books being published the week of April 11th, 2023. We know about all of the most important, fresh new books being published right this very now, like they didn't exist last week, except as ideas and files on computers, although maybe the books really were printed months ago and are just now being shelved and officially sold in bookstores and online. Anyway, we know a few things about how publishing works, and we're going to talk about it. We cover fantasy, horror, and related genre books, as well as science fiction. I've got links for timing if you want to skip to your favorite genre, whether that's science fiction, fantasy, or horror. My name is Amelia, and this video is a creation of Locus magazine. I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe. You know why. Starting with science fiction books this week, we have 4 science fiction titles being published. From Hugo Award winner Charlie Jane Anders, we saw Promises Stronger Than Darkness out from Torteen in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a young adult SF novel, the final installment in the Unstoppable series. When Elsa became a space princess, let's just revel in that phrase. I'm going to say it again. When Elsa became a space princess, she thought she'd be spending her time at the palace wearing gorgeous couture and soaking up everything there is to know, but instead, she's on the run with everyone hunting for her and her friends. From Gareth L. Powell, we saw Descendant Machine out from Titan Books UK in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is an SF novel. When Nicola Mafalda's scout ship comes under attack, she's left deeply traumatized by the drastic action it takes to keep her alive. Months later, when an old flame comes to ask her for help, she has to find a way to forgive both the ship and her former lover. Nicola and her crew will have to set aside their differences, sneak aboard a vast alien megaship, and try to stay alive long enough to prevent galactic devastation. From Neil Shusterman and Eric Elfman, we saw I Am the Walrus out from Little Brown in hardcover and ebook. This is an upper middle grade SF novel. When 14-year-old Noah falls from the trees on his classmate Sahara, he doesn't understand how or why he would have been up there in the tree. Being up in a tree without realizing how he got there is just one more weirdness in a string of strange things that have been happening to him. Elfman and Shusterman are nice dudes. They've also written the Accelerati trilogy consisting of Tesla's Attic, Addison's Alley, and Hawking's Hallway, which has weird inventions and a menacing group of physicists as the antagonists. From Anthony McCarten, we saw Going Zero out from Harper in hardcover, trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a techno-thriller of high-tech surveillance. 10 Americans have been carefully selected to beta test a groundbreaking new piece of spyware. Fusion can track anyone on Earth, but does it work? For one contestant, an unassuming Boston librarian named Caitlin Day, the stakes are far higher than money, and her reasons for entering the test are personal. Next up, horror. We have 4 titles this week. From Kelley Armstrong, we saw Someone Is Always Watching out from Tundra in hardcover, trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a young adult psychological horror novel. In it, Blythe and her friends, Gabrielle, and brother and sister Tucker and Tanya, have always been a tight friend group, attending a local high school and falling in and out of love with each other. An act of violence causes a rift between Blythe and Tucker, along with unexpected bursts of aggression and disturbing nightmares. From A.J. Elwood, we saw The Other Lives of Miss Emily White out from Titan Books UK in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a horror novel. Banished from her parents' farm to a boarding school for young ladies, Ivy feels utterly alone. In a crumbling and isolated seminary that has seen better days, she is shunned by the other pupils for her working-class origins and mourns for her sister who died not long after she was sent away. From Vivian Shaw, we saw The Helios Syndrome out from Lathe Press in trade paperback and ebook. This is a supernatural thriller novella. When a plane goes missing in mysterious circumstances, Devin Stacy, a freelance necromancer and contingency communications specialist. I mean, you have to bill on a project rate if you're a freelance necromancer, or how do you handle the billing? Anyway, Stacy finds the National Transportation Safety Board needs his special abilities. Using his arcane skills to reach out to a dead pilot, Captain White, Stacy seeks the truth about a flight gone awry. From Cynthia Lytic Smith, we saw Harvest House out from Candlewick Press in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a young adult ghost story, a follow-up to Hearts Unbroken. Huey Wolf is excited to be a part of the spooky Halloween show at Harvest House until he learns an actor will be playing the vengeful spirit of an Indian maiden based on a bigoted local legend. Yeah, we heard the stereotype. And also odd things have been happening at night nearby. Next up, we have fantasy, 9 titles this week. From the wickedly imaginative Fonda Lee, we saw Untethered Sky out from Tor.com in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a fantasy novella. Esther's family was torn apart when a manticore killed her mother and baby brother, leaving her with nothing but her father's painful silence and a single overwhelming need to kill the monsters that took her family. Who was it that said revenge is the purest motive? From Lorraine Avila, we saw The Making of Yolanda La Bruja out from Levine Querido in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a young adult fantasy novel about Yolanda, a young Bruja who's been having dangerous visions involving gun violence in her Bronx high school and bad feelings about a racist new white student. From Andrea Stewart, we saw The Bone Shard War out from Orbit US in hardcover, trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a fantasy novel, book 3 in the Drowning Empire series, in which Sukai has won her first victory as emperor, but the future of the Phoenix Empire hangs in the balance, and Lynn is dangerously short of allies. From Caitlin Sangster, we saw He Who Breaks the Earth out from McKelderry in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a young adult fantasy novel. Mateo spent years believing he suffered from a strange wasting sickness, but he's finally learned the much darker truth. Now he will do whatever it takes to save himself, even if it means betraying Leah, the one girl who's ever made him care about something more than his research. From Kotoku Titihua New Hall, we saw Tauho out from House of Anansi in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is an exploration of indigenous families, womanhood, and alternate post-colonial realities by Kotoku Titihua New Hall, a writer of Maori and Coast Salish descent. This innovative hybrid novel envisions a shared past between two indigenous cultures set on reimagined versions of Vancouver Island and Aotearoa, New Zealand, that sit side by side in the ocean. From Rena Barron, we saw Master of Souls out from Harper Teen in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a young adult fantasy novel about a king with a score to settle, a demon sowing rebellion, and a girl who holds the power of the gods. From Piper J. Draker, we saw Wings Once Cursed and Bound out from Sourcebooks Casablanca in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is an urban fantasy romance novel. Pirafin Ratana lives in Seattle, unaware of the supernatural world close by, until she stumbles into a deadly curse and a vampire tries to help her. From Juliet E. McKenna, we saw The Cleaving out from Angry Robot UK in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. The Cleaving is an Arthurian fantasy novel that follows the tangled stories of 4 women, Nimue, Igraine, Morgana, and Guinevere, as they fight to control their own destinies amid the wars and rivalries that will determine the destiny of Britain. Lastly, we have 2 octagonal pegs. You know the baby game with the pegs that go through the holes? The circles are easy and you figure out the squares and triangles pretty quick, but the octagons take maybe a little more time. Anyway, we have 1 mixed collection and 1 art book to tell you about being published this week. From Izumi Suzuki, we saw Hit Parade of Tears out from Verso Fiction in trade paperback and ebook. This is a collection of 11 strange stories with twists on SF and fantasy tropes. Izumi Suzuki had ideas about doing things differently, ideas that paid little attention to the laws of physics or the laws of the land. In this new collection, her skewed imagination distorts and enhances some of the classic concepts of science fiction and fantasy. From 3D Total Publishing, we saw Sketching from the Imagination character concepts out in trade paperback. This art book showcases designs and their inspirations by 50 artists and illustrators, part of the popular Sketching from the Imagination series. That wraps up this week. Thanks for spending some time with us. At Locus, we want to tell you everything relevant that's happening in the science fiction, fantasy, horror publishing space. We appreciate your eyes and ears and your likes and subscribes. Please do subscribe and turn notifications on so you know about this video when it goes up every week. Locus Magazine and the YouTube channel are a labor of love. We are at Locus Mag or at Locus Magazine on most platforms. You can read more about the science fiction, fantasy, and horror field over at www.locusmag.com or support us on our Patreon. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. Come back and see us again soon, and we'll be here next week with more new books.